Hey guys, I missed The Walking Dead again. Usually when I do miss it on the 9 o'clock actual premiering, I'm usually out eating with fam. But I'm about to catch the replay right now. Talking Dead just ended, so I'll see you guys in a bit, okay? So basically, in the beginning, before the title, we see obviously what seems to be the Kingdom people. A few of them, and they had this tiny little crate that could fit like maybe 2 melons, and they put one lone little lemon in there, and then they close the doors to, I'm guessing, a truck. And then there's a title, right? We get Carol, who apparently wakes up in the middle of the night from a nightmare, I'm guessing. She's also crying from this nightmare. And then we see what we saw in the preview from last Talking Dead. They show a preview of Carol making a trip from her little cottage to Kingdom, getting rid of those walkers, and asking where Morgan is. We get that again. And, before that, though, we actually see Morgan training a little boy. If I remember correctly, that little boy was, the little brother of the other guy. Like, remember that one guy that Morgan taught, how to fight with a stick and everything? Remember he had like a sibling, or maybe multiple siblings, I don't know, but there was a boy there, definitely his sibling. And Morgan's teaching that little kid now how to fight with a stick, which is pretty freaking cool. And they have this moment, and the big brother is watching from behind. I don't think the little brother saw. But according to Morgan, he's like, so you wanted to learn how to fight so you could beat your brother and knock him to the ground. He's like, yeah. He's like, what's the real reason? Is it because you want to be like your brother? And it's like, yeah. And you see the older brother just smiling and walking away, and I thought that was freaking cute. I really like that. What you call it? And like I said, that happened before Carol got to the Kingdom, and she ends up talking to Morgan. She finds Morgan, talks to him, asking him, like, why did Jesus take Daryl and the rest of the group to Hilltop? Is everything okay? Is everything really okay with, like, what's going on and all that stuff? And Morgan's like, that's between you and Daryl. You told me you wanted to be secluded. You told me you wanted to be away from the group, away from any of these troubles. You didn't want to be a part of this. And I respected your wishes, which is basically what he did, right? Carol didn't want to be in any of this situation. She just wanted to be secluded, and Morgan respected her wishes. And he even said, whatever conversation you had with Daryl when he came over, that's between the two of you. If you want to go back to Alexandria and ask or see if everyone's okay, I'll take you there. He even offered to take her there, right? And I thought that was really pretty cool of Morgan, keeping his word to Carol, despite the fact that she's asking, and offering to take her there to see if everyone's okay, and maybe ask herself in person what's going on with everyone, right? And as she's leaving, basically like storming out in a way, the older kid that was taught, like Morgan's first protege, was like, let me at least walk you back to the cottage, and she's like, no, and all that stuff. And he's like, can I at least go with you, because I want to learn what you do, because you took out literally 5 walkers outside the Kingdom walls. I want to learn from you. And she's still like, no, just do your job, and she takes off. So interesting start. I figured that one sneak peek we saw in the last Talking Dead was going to be like one of the first things we see. But anyway, the commercial's about done, so I'll be right back. Oh, another thing, that one dude, I forgot his name again, but the one who kept telling Ezekiel that, we should do something. Yeah, like when Carol was going back, she did leave one walker, like she injured it and it fell to the ground, but as she was walking back, that same walker turns out dead, and she's like, someone must have killed it, so she's looking around, and we actually see someone spying on her, and I'm guessing it might be, the guy who's trying to make the Kingdom fight, right? And we see him bearing a backpack that says Katie, and I'm wondering who that is. Hang on, okay? Hang on, guys. So, some crazy stuff happened. We had this conversation between Morgan and, what's his name? Richard. And I got his name. That one guy, Richard. And the kid's name is Benjamin. The first protege, the older one. But anyway, we have a conversation between a small one, a brief one, just before they, give their little offerings to the saviors. Richard points out that Benjamin is too young to be a father, right? Sorry for the quotes, wrong with the quote. Because he's raising his little brother, right, out in the apocalypse, and Morgan and Richard have heart to heart about their families. Apparently Richard had a wife and kid, and, Morgan admits to also having the same, a wife and a kid. And he's like, you're a good man. I think you're wrong about the whole not fighting thing, but you're a good man, right? And we also get this moment where, you know how Ezekiel, Morgan, Benjamin, Richard, and like a few other people go and they're in armor and they, get ready to give the offerings. They're driving down the road and they see it's blocked. And by, I believe, shopping carts. And they're all looking around and they end up in this place where they see that fresh dirt has been dug up and there's a freshly dug grave. And there's a little plaque, not really plaque, but a little sign saying, "Bury me here." Now, I assume that most likely was Richard because it's pretty much, it looks like the same place he was burying that backpack that said Katie on it. So, it's not revealed though. So, I'm assuming Richard is the one that, dug that grave up and said, "Bury me here," because it looks like the place we all saw him burying that backpack. But anyway, they end up a little late to their meeting, and I forgot who he was, but the savior dude opens a little truck and he's like looking at all the melons, and he's like, "I want your guns too." And of course they're getting mad and everything. Hang on for a sec, hang on. Okay, I forgot, where was I? So they arrive and the savior dude demands their guns too, and Richard's like, "Just give him the guns," right? And during that whole thing, it's like, "We asked you for 12. There's only 11. And Ezekiel's like, "No, there are 12. And they kept going back and forth until he's like, Ezekiel, why don't you come here and count them? So Ezekiel goes there and he counts them, and he's like, "That's impossible. I counted them before we left. There were 12. And, because of this, they have another scuffle. I'm not going to get too much into this scuffle, but they point the gun at Richard's face, right? And Richard looks like he's ready to go. He's like, "Just do it." Next thing you know, he moves his hand just a little bit over past Benjamin, past Richard, and shoots, and the screen goes black, right? And the reason why I had to pause it real quick is because the commercial was really fast this time. But we found out who got shot. Unfortunately, it was poor Benjamin. And the kingdomers they're like, we gotta patch him up. We gotta go back to the kingdom. He's not gonna make it. And the savior guy's like, give Morgan back his damn stick and not another word. And it's like, "You better give us that cantaloupe. And it better be on time, or more bad things are gonna happen," right? And of course they're carrying Benjamin into the truck, and like, I think it was Morgan, he's like, "We gotta get to Carol. We loaded her up with a lot of medical supplies. She could help out, because poor Benjamin, he's bleeding out. He's not gonna make it to the kingdom." So they get to Carol's. Carol hears the truck and she sees him, and you see them try to bandage him up. And unfortunately, Benjamin does not make it. And they're all in shock, and Morgan pretty much, I think he's the one that, like, after Benjamin died, had to, the brain, because he sees a knife, he's wiping it, and he, like, storms out. But you see him running around in the spot where the shopping carts were, and you see him going a little nuts a bit, because you see flashbacks from, like, episodes Days Gone By, Clear, Here's Not Here, and The Well, because you see flashbacks of them, and you even see flashbacks of Morgan's son Dwayne, his wife Jessie. Like, he's going back to that crazed moment, right? And as he kicks something out of the way, he notices the last melon. the 12th melon that they had, and realizes that it was Richard. Because there's a moment where Richard's directing everybody. He's like, "Hey Benjamin, put your gun up," and all that stuff. And it was right then and there Morgan realized that the 12th melon that was missing from their little offerings was literally taken by Richard, and he's the one who hid the melon. But anyway, yeah, R.I.P. Benjamin, man. He deserves so much better than that. He really did. Damn. And it sucks because he's taking care of his little brother, and I think there was another sibling. I think there were maybe 2 of them, but I know for a fact there's a little brother, so it's official. Because the Benjamin was taking care of his little brother. And now Benjamin's dead. That boy is pretty much literally an orphan now. He has no one, not even his brother, so that really effing sucks, man. R.I.P. Benjamin. And if it's Richard's fault, man, oh man. Holy crap, I'm just gonna, like, squeeze it in as much as possible. Morgan confronted, what's his face, Richard, about the melon, and apparently Richard wanted to start something with the Saviors, and he wanted the Saviors to shoot him so he could show Morgan and the rest of the kingdom that they had to fight against the Saviors. He wanted to be the reason, right? But he didn't predict that they would shoot poor Benjamin instead of him. And he's like, since I didn't die, I guess I'm gonna be the one to lead the war against the Saviors. And as they're delivering, like, he even said that I will go and tell everyone what I did, and I'll live with that with the rest of my life. And when they're making that delivery of the 12th little melon, Morgan's all asking Richard, "Did you do it?" And he's like, "Not now. We'll do it when we get back." And Ezekiel's like, "What's going on?" and all that stuff. He's like, "Don't worry, Your Majesty. We could talk about it when we get back." He's like, "I think we should talk about it now." But as he says that, they show up saying, "Do you have it?" And I realize I'm running out of time, so I'll see you guys in a part 2 video, okay? Bye.